I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on helping verbs. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. All right. So we see that we are doing our grade 5 English lesson on helping verbs. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with a username as well as password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 5, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of helping verbs. All right. So we see that our chapter is helping verb. Our subject is English Language Arts. Grade 5. And the lesson that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of helping verbs is to identify main verbs and helping verbs. All right. So when it comes to helping verbs, a helping verb it comes before a main verb, right? So it's like we are saying it helps the main verb to show the action. So a helping verb it comes before a main verb, and the helping verb it helps the main verb to show the action. And if we're looking at the a sentence, right? It says, I am resting. I am resting. So the word am is a helping verb, and it basically helps the main verb, which is resting. Because we can't just say I resting, because I resting is not grammatically correct. So we need to say I am resting. And if we look at a few common helping verbs, right? A few common helping verbs are words like am, are, is, was, and were. And these are forms of to be. Forms of to have is has, had, and had. And forms of to do is do, does, did. And then we also have modal verbs. And our modal verbs are words like can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, and must. All right. So also the helping verb, they always go before the main verb because it basically helps the main verb to show the action. But the two verbs are not always next to each other. So sometimes the verbs can, be scattered. It doesn't necessarily have to just be next to each other. All right. And we see that sorry. And we see that helping verbs, it's not all they don't always go, or helping verbs don't always go before a main verb. But the two of the verbs are always next to each other. And they're not always next to each other. And if you look at an example, right, it's where it is I am finally resting. And as you can see, there is another word that separates the two, but they're still in the same context. So once again, we said a helping verbs are it comes before the main verb. All right. And we say that helping verbs, they usually comes, like I said before, a noun, but also certain helping verbs do not come directly or immediately before the verb, before its main verb. And also with helping verbs, right? It's like we said here, the common helping verbs we said forms to be. Am, are, is, was, and were. Those are helping verbs, right? And these they come before main verbs. So for example, if we say the word am, then it's like you saying I am. They are, he is. Is. All right. And then if we have forms of to have, right? Forms of to have is like saying she has, they have, he had, right? But you use those words before you use your main verb, right? And that is before we use our main verb. Then we use these words. All right, so now we're going to a+students.ca and we are going to identify the main verbs and helping verbs within that lesson. All right, so we say that a helping verb, it comes before a main verb, and that is why we call helping. Usually if you're helping someone, you are assisting that person. You're not on your own. And that is basically what a helping verb is. It helps the main verb show the action. You don't take over what the main verb is doing. They just have to show action or they assist in taking action. All right. So we're going to look at the movement. All right. So when it comes to helping verbs, right? Remember helping verbs, like we said, it helps and assists the verb, the main verb, because we cannot just say I resting, I eating, right? Because grammatically it doesn't sound right. So now we put a helping verb to come and assist the main verb. All right. And once again, we said with helping verbs, we have some common helping verbs. We have the ones that it forms to be, forms to have, and forms to do. All right, and we see that when it comes to the helping verbs, which is to be, then we use words like am, are, is, was, and were. It's like saying I am eating, right? All right. And we see that when we use our helping verbs, right? Let's say we are using a helping verb and trying to make a sentence. Let's say the word am. So then we will say, I am, for example, 10 years old. So which means that our, oh no, let me not say that example. That example does not. Let's say I am eating, right? So which means that this is our one example, and am is our helping verb, eating is our main verb. The word are, remember we said that are refers to two or more people doing an action, right? So we can say they are. Oopsie. So they are. So they are riding, they are driving. Then we can say he is, because it refers to is. One person. We can say he is laughing. And that is also a helping verb, is, are, and am. We use the word was, which for in the past tense, right? Then you can maybe say she was crying. So was is our helping verb. And the last one would be were, because was will refer to one person doing something in the past, and were refers to more than one person doing something in the past. And then maybe you can say the girls were screaming. So the girls were screaming, right? So these are but a few examples of helping verbs and how we can use these helping verbs, right? And we can form a to we can use it as a form of to be, to have, to do, as well as modal verbs. All right. And these words, right? As you can see, the words that have been underlined, these are our helping verbs, and they basically assist our main verbs to show the action that is taking place. Like the first one, I am eating. And then we have the helping verb are, right? And remember, we said we use the word are to refer to more than one person or thing. They are writing because it refers to more than one person. All right. So now we are going on to our test where we are going to identify the main verbs and we're going to identify the helping verbs. So this is basically, it may seem a lot, but it's just like, let's say, not even, yeah, a sentence that is being given, that is broken up into individual words. All right, so when we say we need to take the helping verb, it says the nurse was taking the patient's temperature every hour. The nurse was taking the patient's temperature every hour. We need to select the helping verb within that sentence. All right, and if we were to choose the correct helping verb, and then we are going to choose was, that is correct. Well done. Was is correct, and it is helping the main verb, which is taking. So the nurse was taking the patient's temperature every hour. So well done. Was is correct. All right. The next one says soda does contain unhealthy elements of sugar, unfortunately. So we say soda does contain unhealthy elements or unhealthy amounts of sugar, unfortunately. So we're going to select a helping verb, and if we select the helping verb within the sentence, then yes, it does is a helping verb. Does, it helps the main verb, which is contain, right, with the rest of the sentence. So soda does contain unhealthy amounts of sugar, unfortunately. And we said a helping verb is does. Well done. Does is correct. All right, the next one says we need to select the helping verb. It says Brenna and Dalton. So Brenna and Dalton are designing clothes for a fashion show. So Brenna and Dalton are designing clothing or clothes for a fashion show. So Brenna and Dalton for designing, so we said are, yes. Are is correct. And the reason why we say it is also are, because our main verb is designing, right? It is telling us, or it's basically helping the main verb, which is are, and it's designing. So well done. No, not and, just are. Troy is tickling his little brother's feet. Troy is tickling his little brother's feet. We need to select the helping verb. This is quite easiest. It is easy because all you do is you just identify the helping verb, because you first actually even see where the verbs are, and then once you find the verb, you'll be able to even see where the helping verb is that assists the main verb. So he said Troy is tickling his little brother's feet, right? So like you see, if we look at this one, the main verb is tickling already, right? So the main verb is tickling. So all we have to do is now identify the helping verb, which is that comes before our main verb, and then we select our helping verb, which is is. So we say Troy is tickling his little brother's feet. So well done. Is correct. So we say we should clean the fancy silverware before the holiday dinner. So we should clean the fancy silverware before the holiday dinner. Remember, let's first identify the verb. Then, in front of the verb, you will find. So we say we should clean the fancy silverware before the holiday dinner. If you're saying the, right, then the comes before fancy, and comes before holiday. So the comes before fancy and before holiday, right? And fancy, okay, fancy can either be a verb, also it's like a feel a desire or liking for something, right? Or it can be a noun. Let's try should, right? Because the reason why should, right? Should is correct. The is, it's an article, right? So the is an article like a and the. That is an article. And that is why I didn't want you to identify it as a helping verb, right? So at least we found our helping verb, which was whatever that we just now identified. So well done. But not the. The next one says, we have thrown the ball into the neighbor's yard many times. So we have thrown the ball many times. We have thrown the ball into the neighbor's yard many times. We need to select a helping verb within that sentence. All right, so if we were to select the helping verb, so if we select the helping verb, we will say have. So we have thrown the ball into the neighbor's yard many times because thrown is our main verb, right? So thrown is our main verb, and then the helping verb is have, right? It's like have, has, had. So have is our helping verb. So well done. Let's look at the next one. It says Rebecca might stay the night at a hotel. So Rebecca might stay the night at a hotel. We need to select the main verb as well. Actually, the main verb. Yeah, they want us now to select the main verb, not the helping verb. The main verb. The main verb. We need to select the main verb, the actual verb, not the helping verb. Let's see. Rebecca might stay the night at a hotel. The main verb, not the helping verb. Look at the sentence. Look at the question. The question says, select the main verb. The main verb without the helping verb. What is the verb without the helping verb? All right, so if we was to select the main verb, right? Remember the main verb is the actual verb without the helping verb, right? Yes, stay is the main verb. That is why we need to look at what the question is because the question would either ask you to identify or select the helping verb or it would ask you to select the main verb. So the main verb was stay, right? Yes, so well done. Stay was correct. And the helping verb is might, right? So beautiful. So now we need to select the helping verb. The helping verb. It says, even the strongest trees were shaking during the storm. Even the strongest trees were shaking during the storm. We need to select the helping verb within the sentence, the helping verb. So they say that we need to select the helping verb. Even the strongest trees were shaking. So which means that we will select our helping verb and we will say it is were. Because shaking is our main verb. So were is our helping verb that helps our main verb, which is shaking. All right, let's do the last one. It says you may help yourself to some apricots. We need to select the helping verb. You may help yourself to some apricots. All right, so if we select our helping verb, we can say you may help yourself to some apricots. So we say you may, right? May. And may is our helping verb. Help is our main verb. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on helping verbs. We said helping verbs. Yes, beautiful. Yes, correct. May is our helping verb. So this is now the end of our lesson on helping verbs. We said helping verbs, it helps the main verb, right, to show the action. And we had to identify certain helping verbs as well as main verbs within our tests, right? All right, so that is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade fives, for joining the class. I really hope that you do have a better understanding of what helping verbs are or how to identify it. So you must have a good weekend further. Goodbye.